I have no friends, yet I'm kind of content in my life. Sure, it would be nice to have more people to spend time with and someone to talk to a lot more. But in my day to day life, I'm pretty much alone apart from work and living with my family. Not that I see them a whole lot. For most of my life, I've felt like an outsider, like I never quite fit into a group. In primary school, I was relatively popular, like I got along well with people, I was able to, you know, do that kind of well. But I didn't really take school seriously and I didn't really think about what I wanted. I was just kind of going with the flow of things. And then, so for reference, in my primary school, in my year level, people my age, there was about maybe 20 to 30 of us in total. So it was quite a fairly small school. So in total, the whole school was maybe a couple hundred people. And then when I went into high school, it was several hundred to 1,000 maybe. So in my year level, there was several hundred, I'm pretty sure, or close to 200. I can't really remember. But it was a big jump. And then all of a sudden, you have all of these different people to interact with that you're seeing every day. And, I'd kind of drift from group to group throughout the years. And I never really felt like I fit into any of them. Like I always felt like I was the weirdest one in the group, the oddest one. I've always felt like I'm kind of in between things. So even though I really like soccer and I like to play soccer, I didn't really identify as the soccer player. Like I wasn't the kind of cool soccer guy that would just play it all the time and that was his whole life. Like I had other interests. I had creative interests. I had philosophical interests. And, for a soccer player, some of them may have a few creative kind of things, but soccer is like most of their life. And so I didn't really fit into that and fit into the guys that were playing soccer. No offense to them, some of them were pretty good guys, but even just thinking when we would go for a kick and then we'd walk back and they'd all go to Macca's and on the way I would go to a sushi shop and I'd buy sushi and then I'd meet them at Macca's and be eating the sushi and I'd just kind of be like the weird one because I was more concerned about my health and that kind of thing even at a younger age. And I think that was part to do with my family but also because I like to take things seriously and I like to learn about why to do things. And if I understood, Macca's isn't good for you, then I probably wasn't going to eat it for a while. But of course, later on, as I've explained in other videos, I kind of gave into those impulses. But to go back to this kind of topic, I don't feel like I've ever met someone that has been like me, that has felt like me, and that's had similar experiences and wants a similar to life to me. Because even when I think about the life that I kind of want and the values that I kind of have, I don't really know anyone my age. I haven't met anyone my age. I haven't seen online anyone my age that is interested in this kind of philosophy ideas, but also in practicing it and embodying it, but also being creative. It's like this synthesis of art, body and exercise and health and well-being and also maybe a bit of spirituality into it as well. And I don't think many people are synthesizing those kind of things. And because I felt so lonely, I would try and look for other groups. I'd look for answers on YouTube. And at times I would feel like I found someone that understood me, like they were saying things, like they were speaking to my best self and they were hyping me up. Like there's been a few soccer people and I'd join a community and eventually I would find out they aren't like me. Like I would join this soccer community I think when I was 18 or 19. No, I was 19. And I just felt really weird inside it. I felt like, you know, I was behind them because I wasn't even playing semi-professional. I was still in like my hometown at that point, but I was going to play in Wollongong and play close to a semi-professional level. And I realized like those people didn't have the struggles that I have. They hadn't been through the kind of suffering that I have. They were just kind of, whatever, this is just life, this is soccer, this is what I'm going to do kind of thing. And they were able to do that. And I had all of these doubts and insecurities in my head. And when I try to ask questions regarding them, what the fuck is that noise? Anyway, when I'd have questions regarding those kind of things, they would just give me these plain answers, and I would be like, this person, these people that I've been looking up to, they don't even understand me. They haven't been through the struggles that I have. Like, I've been through a lot of mental struggles, and it's one of the hardest things to feel like you're a worthless piece of shit, to put it bluntly, and to not feel like you're deserving of anything, and to literally have opportunities in front of you to do the things, but I felt so worthless that I wouldn't take them, and that I wasn't worthy of them, that was too scared to take the responsibility. And nobody was telling me how to navigate that, because nobody that I knew that was online had been through these kind of experiences. And so I thought that I just had to kind of work harder, and I just had to kind of force myself into being like them. And oh my God, that noise. I don't know if you can hear that, but I don't know what it is. It's probably the wind moving something. Anyway, so I had a few instances with these kind of groups, and after like the soccer group, I was like, oh, so I'm just going to leave that group. I don't really feel like I am a part of this community, even though I thought that soccer was something that I wanted to do. I don't really vibe with these kind of people. And even when I moved away, went to uni and did this like soccer course and played sort of semi-professional, it still felt really off. Like I didn't really gel with the people. I still felt like the outsider. And that was a really tough and lonely time for my life, because I didn't have any support. I didn't have any friends. I was only seeing a few people that I knew, but I wasn't really talking to anyone. The only really person that I kind of talked to a little bit was the exercise. Uh, what the fuck? What do you call it? The personal, not the personal trainer, but the exercise instructor, whatever, that was doing the soccer program for us, because he'd done music, and then he decided that he wanted to come into this kind of personal training stuff, and then he chose to like kind of work on athletes and soccer players, and he also did some rugby players as well. I was just trying to find myself in these labels and in these kind of things to try and identify with the community and identify with other people, and and that actually sounds like a jackhammer. Anyway, I'm getting distracted by that noise. And then I just found that was so much more peaceful spending time with myself. Like I kept attaching to other people for so long because I felt like I needed that identity. They validated a part in myself that I didn't have confidence in. I would have friends that were more confident, and it just ended up being me just shutting up, saying nothing, and then talking all the time, which is why I felt like I needed to come to this YouTube, because it gave me the space to talk. I felt like no one wanted to hear what I had to say, and even if they did, they would twist it into their own kind of ideas and philosophy, and that's not what I really wanted. That didn't make me feel seen or heard, and that was not what I wanted in a friend, to be honest. And I just want to say that I do have like a couple people that I can talk to or whatever, or like friends that are living in other places, but in my life at the moment, I'm not spending time with any friends. I barely call anyone, maybe like a couple times a month. And that's my friend that I could be moving in with, hopefully in the next couple months, to get out of this area and into the big city. But we'll see how that goes. But yeah, in my day-to-day life, I don't really have anyone. I don't have anyone to talk to, and I've always kind of longed for that. And I feel like my standard, my identification of a friend is so much bigger than other people's. Like other people, just like, oh yeah, we just play soccer or we go out drinking or whatever. And some people are just fine with that identity, like just working as a tradie and then having the weekend off and then spending their time with their friends and going out drinking or whatever. And I'm not saying that that's bad, but that's just the life that they want and that's what they're happy with. And I've never really identified with that. I've never wanted to do that because it felt too shallow to me. And maybe that's like part of my kind of ego and how I grew up. Like people saw a lot of potential in me and they would say that like, oh, like you're so mature for your age, you're so much smarter if you just applied yourself. Like you're really smart, you should be doing these kind of things, or like you seem gifted or whatever. And those things have like a bad effect on my life, because then a bad effect in the way that I kind of relate to the world and other people, because then I feel like what I'm doing isn't enough. And that's why I've struggled with projects so much. And you'll see in my videos now, I'm so much more raw and uncaring, because not uncaring, but just trying to get the things done, because that's what's most important, getting the momentum to be doing stuff. I just had a little thought to kind of stop myself, because sometimes we're always striving for things, striving and striving for this future that will never really come. And the present moment is really all we kind of have, and we have to be grounded in that. Otherwise, we're always living for this tomorrow that never comes, and then all of a sudden we're dead. And, on this kind of tangent that I'm going on, this morning, like I had this really weird imposter syndrome. I was like, who am I to think that I'm special enough to be doing these videos, think that I won't be doing this kind of 9 to 5 kind of 5-day work. Like, why don't I just fit in with everyone else and kind of go along with this societal kind of thing? And now that I've been on my walk and I've kind of let it kind of settle, like that kind of stirred up a lot of things in me, because I've recognized that my ego and the way that I had been told that I have a lot of potential and that I'm smart or whatever, that I had to be doing a lot. And then that kind of got in the way of me living this life in accordance with reality and truth. And by that, I mean, rather than focusing on these external kind of things, these external achievements or whatever, it's just doing the thing. Because I realize now that I enjoy making these videos. I enjoy being alone with myself. I don't like working a job for other people. And I just enjoy the process of like showing up and drawing every morning at the moment. Like, I forgot that as a kid I really enjoyed drawing, and I just kind of forgot about it and went along with what other people were doing because I wanted to fit in, and because I felt lonely and I was so unsure of myself. And I think that's a part of adolescence and growing up, and it's an important part because it kind of helps you test out these kind of things. But overall, I didn't want to be identified with one thing. I didn't want to be limited to one label. I didn't just want to be a soccer player. I wanted to play soccer. I wanted to be someone who played soccer. And now it's weird. I don't have as much attachment to these kind of things, and I can't say exactly what it was. I think a part of it's been meditation, but I think mostly it's just been silence, sitting in this silence, sitting in the negative feelings, not reacting to them, kind of reflecting on them and allowing them to settle, because so much in our life we're just reacting on things. And I found myself doing it quite a bit. But now I'm kind of a lot more grounded, and I'm like, I love doing basically the same thing every day. Even if it seems kind of boring, it feels kind of satisfying and easy. And although I have impulses to eat like junk food or whatever, I somehow still follow my diet anyway. I feel like I'm going off topic from I have no friends, and I think I've said what I wanted to and what I've needed to, and kind of been across like the journey of identifying with other people, attaching to their confidence, having friends that would project this confidence, and I wanted to follow them, to then rejecting it and trying to find my own way and find my own definition, and to just experience life and experience my sensations of life, to become better in touch with myself. And that has made me a bit more lonely. I don't really have any friends or anything like that at the moment, like in my area. And I don't have anyone that kind of identifies with the things that I'm doing at the moment. But that's part of why I'm creating this video, so that other people don't feel alone. And I think it's kind of like, as Chris Williams has said, he has some videos on the lonely chapter. When you're kind of changing your life, you haven't quite found the new people quite yet. You haven't quite got the results to be in that group, and you haven't connected to the people and found those people, whatever. Anyway, also, as I was talking about that last kind of topic about the discipline or whatever, I'm going to make a video next week on something, I don't know what the title's going to be yet, but it's going to be something about discipline and laziness, and how I've found being lazy has made me kind of more disciplined and efficient, and made my life more easy than it has to force things, which I've tried so much, like trying to force to have friends and to force to fit into kind of things. It's kind of weird. When you try less, you get more, you get what you want, basically, when you kind of let go. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you for watching, especially if you watched it to the end. I really appreciate it. And if you have no friends, all the best. And sometimes it's not a bad thing to not have any friends, and it's okay to be lonely. So thank you for watching.